So, transiting Jupiter in the first house shows that some of the qualities of Jupiter and some of the themes that Jupiter wants to bring are becoming prominent for you in a way that relates to the way that you are in the world, what kind of person you are. The first house has a lot to do with just the self and how we see ourselves, how other people see us, our self-image. So you might find yourself taking on some of the qualities of Jupiter in a way that is more prominent. So you might become more gregarious, more interested in sort of having this kind of larger than life sort of vibe to you, maybe. People might say that Jupiter in the first house transiting can bring a lot of luck and sudden opportunities and optimism, and that can be the case as well because Jupiter is the part of us that is like hope. It represents like faith, and in that, well, hope and faith are not the same thing. So it's kind of like it represents hope on one level and faith on one level. That faith that you can do things and that you can that life will get better for you and you can succeed. We can't kind of succeed without Jupiter. If Saturn is the part of us that is disciplined enough to help us do things and to make something happen, then Jupiter is the part of us that kind of complements that. So it's not so much about sort of discipline. It's not so much about like the rules and structure of the thing. This is more like the higher rules in the sense that, sometimes when we think positively and we think optimistically and we have faith in something, then that thing can work out because we are combining maybe the energies of Jupiter and Saturn in a way that works. So we need Saturn, we need Jupiter, we need that energy of being hopeful and having faith in things working out. So when Jupiter is transiting someone's first house, the person can become more interested in opening up their life to new opportunities, new ideas. Jupiter has also to do with higher education, philosophy, any kind of higher thinking. So those themes might become prominent in a way that you almost like internalize and become important in your life, in a way that meshes well with your personality and who you are and who other people see you as, which is kind of like the first house themes. So when Jupiter is passing through your first house, you might find that people are more drawn to you because you are somehow radiating that energy of having faith and being optimistic. It's kind of like smile and the world smiles back, as they say. So there's other themes of Jupiter in the first house that I'd like to talk about as well. So sometimes this can bring about some sort of excessive behavior or energy. So, they talk, for example, about weight gain with Jupiter in the first house. And that's because you can go overboard and you can be excessive with certain things that, kind of literally it's about like enlargement. Like that sounds terrible, but like in some cases it can mean weight gain, but it's only because there is some kind of excessive energy that maybe you're not taking into account how your behavior is going to impact you in the long term. So, some people with aspects with Jupiter in the birth chart can be like certain squares with Jupiter in the birth chart can be very sort of, oh, I'm just going to do this thing and I'm not going to, care what happens. I'm just going to go with it and roll with it. But you can, in the process of doing that, you can kind of go overboard with things very easily as well. It's this kind of happy-go-lucky energy, right? So that can be a theme. It's also just a period of, it sort of like new doors opening for you in your psychology, maybe in your daily life, because Jupiter is coming from the 12th house, and so it enters the first house, and so it has to do with new themes arising and opening up in your consciousness that allow for new opportunities to happen in your life. Like I say, you open yourself up mentally in your own psychology, and the world might open up to you more then as well. You have certain opportunities based on how you are inside, if that makes sense. So I think with Jupiter in the first, transiting through the first house, you might become more interested in going back to school, college, do some kind of course. Your your identity and your self perception might be colored in this period by Jupiterian themes, such as that I'm this intellectual person who wants to go study, and I'm trying to open up my mind, and so other people can see that in you during this period as well. And it's just about also just not going overboard with kind of losing the common sense, if that makes sense. So like if you're just constantly thinking of higher realms, then there's a certain Saturnian energy that needs to come about to kind of temper that, so that you're also have your feet on the ground at the same time. So it's not all about philosophy or higher thinking. It's also about managing your day-to-day life and discipline in some sense, right? Some people might find with transiting Jupiter in the first house that they have more self-confidence and more self-belief during this period, and also just belief in some kind of higher energy maybe guiding you in life, and that you can make yourself become anything you want kind of through your own self-belief, and also your belief in higher maybe energies kind of guiding you. Like you feel like it's almost like you have some sort of, you might have during this period some sort of idea or a sense of something guiding you that is in you but also outside of you. So you can be very self-confident and have a lot of self-belief during this period, but you can also feel like there's something else, there's a higher energy, like higher forces almost helping you out during this period. And also, so it's just again not about not being too excessive, because if you just believe that everything will work out and life has it sorted for me, and the angels will help or something like that, there is something to that as well, in terms of helping you feel good about what you're doing, and also to help you feel more positive. But you just need to also be able to kind of be on the ground at the same time. And so that's why we have different planets and we have different energies in us, so that if we're going excessive or overboard with Jupiterian energy, we have that Saturnian energy to kind of ground us a little bit. But, and it depends on other things that you've got going on in the transit chart as well. But just breaking apart this kind of transit, Jupiter in the first house, these are just some of my thoughts about this transit. So just your belief in yourself might increase, something in your life might open up. You might also, I forgot to mention, you might also just become more invested in yourself. So Jupiter kind of likes to enlarge and expand whatever area it's dealing with in the moment. And so you can become more egocentric, or just more interested in your own self-image or your own affairs, like your own life affairs. And again, it's about not going overboard, so that you can sort of take the positive things from Jupiter and not let the negative things of Jupiter kind of take over. But yeah, I think with transiting Jupiter in the first house, self-belief, confidence can really grow for that period. Like it's giving you an opportunity for you to do something if you have like more self-confidence, you can do more things. So it just makes sense. And yeah, just belief in things might grow. Belief in yourself, belief in a higher energy, belief in philosophy, some kind of interest in philosophy, or going back to do a course, or just being more invested in these things, and just being more invested in yourself. And you might be more invested in your appearance or how you present yourself, because the first house is also to do with that. So you might be, you might actually end up presenting yourself and, identifying as someone who is Jupiterian. So, gregarious and hopeful and faithful and faith-filled and interested in higher thinking and philosophy and what is going on in the world, and kind of the higher meaning of things and the higher structure of things. So Jupiter is also structured. It's not just, Saturn that's structured. Jupiter also has a kind of structure to it, but it kind of wants to open your worldview, and it wants to open your eyes that there's other things going on outside of, your own realm. So it might be one way that this manifests is that you become more aware of your place in the world. Like, who am I in the world? And it kind of expands the view from which you are seeing everything. So if the first house is like the door to your, it's like your front door, and you go out through this door and you kind of see the world through this lens. And so Jupiter traveling through the first house can give you a Jupiterian view on things, and you might present yourself in a Jupiterian way. So just a few of my thoughts. If you have experiences with, specific experiences, with Jupiter transiting through your first house, what was that like? Share your experiences. Do subscribe if you're more interested in more thoughts from me, astrology or otherwise, and leave a thumbs up if you appreciated this and if you got something out of it. Thank you for listening.